Skip Happens. Please return Bubbles, your flight attendant, to her fully upright and locked position. Oh, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat and buckle up. Seat backs and tray tables in their full upright position. It's another episode of Skip Happens. Your weekly view from 30,000 feet. From the first music lesson to the first paid gig to signing the deal, it's the journey that is the life of an artist. Now, here's your captain and co-captain, a.k.a. your hosts, Skip Clark and Deb Lamphere.
Nope, nobody knows where she is. Nobody knows. And nobody's going to tell. I don't think she'd want me to tell. Hey, everybody, look who is with me here again tonight. I got to say, it's been about a year. Dariann Leigh is back with us, and it's good to see her smiling. And, believe it or not, we hung together just a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, and we had a good time. And how are you, by the way?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Did you survive the Deb, look at that. Deb already chimed in. Deb, it's like I knew she would do that. Yeah, exactly. So we saw you a couple of weeks ago. Did you survive okay? That's like 3 days.
3 days that feels gratefully like a lot longer. Just because of how much is going on every 5 seconds.
Yeah, and I would say because you're an artist, an independent artist, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but this was the radio convention, and it's very beneficial for somebody like you as a new and up-and-coming artist and so talented to be there and shake hands and talk to people and all that. And it's got to be more grueling on you than it is, for example, me being a radio guy, an old radio guy. So I don't know. How does that work for a new artist?
It's your first one, I always say, is such a whirlwind because you don't really know what's happening. You're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, doing whatever people tell you to do. And you're meeting everyone. So by the second time, this year was my third, you're actually being able to continue relationships that you've already started and then obviously forming new ones. So I would say this one, I felt like kind of like a veteran for CRS, as in like my own shoes. Like I've done it before. I know what I'm going in and doing. I've probably met a good majority, not everyone, but a majority of some people. Which shockingly, you can go in there and think you know almost everyone and still find many.
And then you don't. I know.
It was good, though. It's exhausting, but it's good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. As an artist, that's one thing you want to do is get your face in front of people and say, hey, are you playing my song?
Right.
Will you play my song?
Right.
Or you can go, I love your radio station. Now play my song.
Right.
And all that good stuff. But it was so good to see you. I know your mom and dad were in town as well. And just the whole group. It was great to hang out and say hello and have a cold one and all that good stuff. So it's good to see you. Yeah. So what's transpired in your life over the last year or so since the last time we talked? I know you got new music out, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But you moved to Nashville, I think, from the last time that we talked to you.
I think it must have been around that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been there probably close to a year?
About a year and a half now. So maybe it was kind of right after I had moved, but it's coming up on a little over a year and a half at this point, which is crazy because I can still remember packing all my boxes as if I just packed them yesterday. I just finally a few months ago, like the last small box that really wasn't that important, wasn't something I needed too often, but I finally needed something from it and I had to unpack that box. So
did you kind of open it up and go, that's where it is?
Yeah,
I've been looking for
very
that.
Much so. I tried to be so organized because everybody told me to like write everything on the box. That way you know where it is. I tried all the things. I think moving is just one of those things that you're never going to have it 100% without.
You know how a guy does it? We just throw all the crap in a box. We don't worry about labeling it. We just worry. We'll dump it out on the living room floor when we get to where we're going. And, but my wife is like you. She'd be labeling everything. And, these are the classes. These are, whatever.
Let's what you should be more fragile with.
Right. No, I'm just kidding. She's probably watching this. So where are we? Yeah. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I said she's probably thinking, I know you're not going to label the glasses.
And Deb is the organized one when it comes to the business here. So I'm sure she would definitely chime in on that. And she says, miss you guys and some hearts. So we miss you too, Deb. So, but enjoy whatever you're doing, enjoy it. So, and have a cold one for us.
Yes.
That's all. Yeah,
Those are the
exactly.
rules. We don't write them, but we're just telling you, you must abide by them.
hmm I keep saying we're going to talk about your music, but if you watch this, like as we're recording this, as it's live right now or within the next week or two, there's been a lot of stuff going on in Nashville,
Yeah.
and it was devastating. And obviously, and a good friend of mine, her husband was one of the first police officers in the school. Um, it's just, where were you when all that happened, and what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I was playing at Casa Rosa downtown Nashville when that happened.
hmm
I think I found out probably not too long after we started, so we still had hours left, but y you with it happening so often when it shouldn't happen so often or ever at all, you have
hmm
to remind yourself not to become desensitized to it, and I think for me, especially being in Nashville, was a very different experience to have versus it being so far away. You feel like there's some sense of you feel so horrible and you wanna help, but I've never actually had a whole lot of
hmm
opportunity to help, whereas now it's right in front of me. It was very strange to watch families walk in that were entirely unassociated with what had happened, but just imagining the people that weren't able to hug their children
hmm
that night, it
Yeah,
was
you
really
you said
heartbreaking.
you saw people as you were driving home,
Mhm. Yeah,
picking up the
a lot of the
kids.
schools were on lockdown,
Right.
and so parents were picking up their kids by the time I was
Oh,
going home, and it was the air in Nashville just feels very different the past 48 hours.
yeah. I was reading some facts on the air today that we've had like almost approximately 130 mass shootings just since the beginning of 2023. That means if you figure that out, I don't want to go much deeper with this because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. But when you think about this, that works out to about 10 shootings a week or mass shootings a week, and almost two per day.
Right.
So so wow.
It's tragic, and
Yeah,
we'd be lying to ourselves if we said we couldn't do more or that we couldn't do better because we can.
we can. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
Right.
Writer note. Let's talk about you, Dariann Leigh, independent artist, and of course, you just dropped a new song here, "Blame It on Me," not all that long ago. What, like 3 weeks ago, maybe? I'm looking
Yeah,
at the
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Tell us about that. "Blame It on Me."
Yeah, "Blame It on Me," is actually one of the 3rd songs that I've released that I didn't write. So it's always a little bit of a different experience when you're able to take someone else's song that they put so much of their heart and their soul
Mhm,
into and put your own heart and soul into it as well. I always say, like, finding another song is kind of like listening to the radio, but actually knowing that you could have that song and you could put something to that song and release it so people can hear it. It was written by my
mhm,
producer, Butter, Mark Fortney, and his wife, Emily Fortney,
mhm,
and they kind of pitched it to me in a way of, "This is a song that we think you'd really like. It has a very 2000s country vibe. Let us know what you think." And I was like, "Signed, sealed, delivered. I want it on my set list. I want it on my list on
mhm,
Spotify.
mhm.
I wanna release it. Let's do it."
So you've dropped the song, and so if somebody wants to get a hold of it, they can do
Yeah.
that and give it a listen for themselves. As you know, when you came on tonight and before we went live with the cameras and the lights and all that good stuff, I was playing it, and I'm like, this is like, yeah, this is radio airplay right here. This is
Right,
this is what we need to do. I
right.
think you're onto something, Darianne. I think that
Thank
that
you.
I mean, it's a step. It's a step. Everything you do is a step. I mean, you're so young and you got such a future ahead of you. So
Thank
putting
you.
out something like this is pretty cool. Tell us about your songwriting a little bit. What lights the fire for you to think about some of these creative ideas?
Yeah, for me, I have always said that I'm a very personal writer. So I write about a lot of what's happening in my life today or things that my friends are going through or my family's going through, things happening in the world today. But also, like, if I'm doing a co-write, they'll come in with something and we just kind of fly with it. I was on a write earlier today and it was one of those actually pretty quickly written songs.
Mhm.
It really for me is very much so triggered by things that I'm involved in day to day, which I think also makes it a lot more relatable for people that are listening too.
Why is it I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. I think I need to be quiet.
Like CRS
Um,
all over again.
yeah, I know it's happening. Oh my God. Am I still in bar lines? I have no idea. Um, get me out of here. But when you write a song so quick, and we've talked to so many other artists where sometimes they go in and they write a song and they're done in a couple of hours, and next thing you know, that song is awesome. But then
Right,
there's other ones, other artists go in and they day in, day out, day in, day out. Try to piece it all together, and still
right,
it's, okay, this is going nowhere. Why do you
right.
think that is?
I don't know because I'm also in the middle of another song with 2 friends of mine that we've met on it 2 times, going on 3 by the next time we get together, and every time, like, I think it's mainly because we know it's a really good song and we wanna fight for it to
Mhm,
continue
mhm.
to be good. We don't wanna put in lines or lyrics or things that don't feel genuine to the message that we're trying to send and/or just, like, bring the song back. We wanna push the song forward, so I think a lot of it is just that perfectionism and artistry that you find in every genre and every walk of
Mhm,
life.
mhm.
Sometimes it leads you to nothing, but sometimes you might write the next big thing, I guess.
Yeah, take us back. We talked about a year ago. We become friends, as I mentioned earlier, and every once in a while we pass and there's Dariann. Oh, this is so cool. But what got you into doing music? I know you told us a while ago, but I want you to go back there a little bit.
Yeah. Music was always a huge part of my life. I used it a lot in school because I struggled. And it was a learning tool for me, learning spelling words, multiplication things, all of it. I would
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
songs and dances that went with everything, kinda like today's version of TikTok, except for it was never posted and it was just in
Uh-huh.
my head. Um, but it was always just what I was doing. My brothers would turn the radio on and they'd switch it from channel to channel to channel, and I was the annoying little sister that knew every single song and would sing along to everything. I think it was just almost, like, engraved in who I am from the day that I came to be, because it was always
Hmm.
just the thing
Hmm.
that I leaned on. I would write little diary entries that would actually turn out to be songs, and I didn't even know how to write songs at that time. So it was
Hmm.
all just everything I was doing was adding up to be exactly where I am right now. And I've had a lot of opportunity and a lot of people that have supported me
Yeah.
along the way that have been incredibly instrumental for me to be right here right now.
Do you remember what the first song was that you ever did write?
Oh, I remember
And was it
probably
any
not
good?
no. I don't think they ever are. I
They're all good, I'm
remember
sure.
no, I remember writing something when I was really young, but the one that I remember the most was sometime in probably middle school. We had an assignment to write about our house and like the different things that you love about your house. And I immediately got the house that built me Miranda Lambert vibes. And that was when I
Mhm,
think I
mhm,
finally associated the fact that like what I was doing was so pertinent to songwriting. And I kind of
mhm.
wrote probably my own version that might have been really similar to the house that built me. I don't remember that detail, but I do remember writing something, and the teacher that we had had was like, "This is incredible, almost feels like a song, almost feels like a
Yeah,
story." And I was like, "Validation, that's exactly what I thought."
exactly what you wanted,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What do you remember about that house? Is there
Oh,
I mean, well, I know we're going back a little bit, but what do
right.
you remember? Was there a part of the house that you loved or hated what do you remember?
Yeah, my parents still live I grew up in the same house throughout my entire
Okay.
life, and my parents are still there now. For me growing up, it was we live on a good piece of land, and it was
Mhm,
always just my parents were very much so, like, in the wintertime, you stayed inside a lot, but you went outside as
mhm,
much as they could possibly push us out the doors to go play. But in the
mhm.
summertime, I remember just, like, never ever being inside and continuously being outside, doing
Oh,
some
cool.
sort of childhood shenanigans, or my dad would be really fun and put together pools for us that we could swim
Oh,
in
how
all
cool.
summer long. Yeah, I was always a little scared of under our steps. We'd have like a little toy kitchen for my brothers and I to play in, kind of ended up inherently
Mhm,
mine.
mhm.
But there's a little latch where you could actually see under the steps, and I always found that area terrifying.
That would be terrifying.
It was just
That's
dark,
crazy. Yeah,
dark.
cool. Hey, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you like to live?
Ooh,
While we're talking about houses and homes and
right.
lives and yeah.
If I love Nashville, but I'm very much so like a beach, ocean, lake
Uh,
girl. So
you like the water.
I do like the water.
Yeah.
And it's not the same in Nashville as it is in Minnesota, but also I really love like somewhere on the East Coast. That like coastal vibe, I think, would very much so be my vibe.
I think your mom chimed in and said, "I never knew."
I never knew. Oh, yeah, she probably like, I never knew you were brave under the steps.
Well, that explains it.
Right.
No. So that's cool with the water. I mean, in Minnesota, are there a lot of lakes?
There is 10,000, and that's not including small
Really?
ponds. There's a lot of lakes.
Wow. Did you have a place that was fairly close to the house where you could go and either fish or swim or hang out with your friends and make it
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a few lakes near where I am from, and then we also had a cabin that we would go to, and both of which are some of my favorite places in the world.
How cool. Your mom said, well, I'm glad your brothers didn't lock you in.
That could have been problematic.
Would they have done that?
Probably. It's your
Right.
job as a sibling to annoy your siblings, and I have done it very well.
Especially sisters and brothers.
Exactly.
That whole, I know, I have two. I
We
get
are
it.
all humbled by our siblings at one point in our life.
Yeah. You know what? A lot of that will never end. As
No.
long, I mean, family is always family. And as we get on, my sisters and my brother, I mean, but it's all fun.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know. So what was the reaction of your mom and dad when you said, I want to go to Nashville? Or what got you actually first interested in doing what you're doing?
Right. I started playing around a little bit and just kind of got the feel for playing live music and seeing what that felt like. And everybody always calls it getting the bug. You just fall in love with it and you're hook, line, sinker. That's what you're doing. And for
Mhm.
me, Nashville kind of came naturally. The first time I came here, I think it was a lot of culture shock because I don't come from
Okay.
a very big place. So culture shock probably isn't the right term, but just being shocked by the amount of people that can fit in such a space. And it took a little bit of growing on me to get used to Nashville. Now I love it. And my parents came
Mhm.
with the very few first times.
Mhm.
And they were also very instrumental in pushing me towards coming because we've all known that this is where I needed to be.
It's what you want.
Yeah,
You have a passion for it and you want to live your dream. And if you weren't doing this, you would regret it.
exactly.
You know, let's just say you went out and got a job at home and doing whatever
Right,
for whatever. And then you think back, you'd go, damn, I should have gone to Nashville.
right,
Absolutely. And you're in a good spot. I know that because we we talk to a lot of artists, and if you don't go there and you don't give it a try, you don't get yourself involved, it's just, you're wasting it. You're
right.
wasting it. And you got such a talent. So
Thank
yeah, with your mom and dad, they said it's okay to go to Nashville. I know
Yeah,
if I was your father, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna check on you every hour.
right.
Just because and the way the world is nowadays, it kind of scares me even at my age. And I've got grown daughters and I've got grandkids, but the just I still every talk to them as much as I can and talk to the
Mhm,
kids, of course, and all that, and especially now with everything that's happened. But
right.
I'm very protective of my daughters. I have three. So yeah.
It's a father's job, right?
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to laugh because you're sitting there in your room. Everything is so neat. Now, let
Thanks.
me, if I was on that end and you were interviewing me and I was sitting on my bed, my pillows
Yes.
would be all over the place. The bed would not be made. The pictures would probably be crooked on the wall.
Some of
Just
mine
saying.
are, but you can only see 2.
No, that's all right. I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
So you have a song out there now. Are you pushing it to radio? Is somebody helping you with that?
So I've pushed to radio in the past. I'm considering doing that maybe with my next single. This one I've kind of
Okay.
just been letting the streaming do its thing. And I also
Mhm.
still have radio folks that have been super supportive that'll throw it on every once in a while, which is really, really sweet. So kind of
Mhm. Mhm.
gearing back up to step back into the radio world a bit more, but just kind of preparing step by step.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just, being a programmer, sometimes it's tough to just be able to play anything, but there's
Right.
certain things that I would play, and I'm looking at it right now. So I'm just,
Thank
you
you.
know, absolutely. Uh, so I just, It's just amazing. So people can go on Spotify or all the social platforms and get your music and all that. Have you thought about maybe have you approached any of the major labels at all, or you do not want to do that?
I would love to do that. I've had coffee with one of the labels in town,
Hmm.
that if I was able to work with them in the future, that would be a lifelong dream of mine, which is so crazy because you're just sitting down for coffee with people,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like
Hmm.
trying to remind yourself that this is a business thing, and not to get too like, oh my gosh, this is so fun, because that's what you're thinking. I mean, if it ever came around, I'd definitely be really interested in pursuing that.
Yeah, but do you pursue it though as an individual? Do you go and knock on doors, or do you wait? And you kind of count on your socials to hopefully somebody notices it, or how?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
for me, I've kind of been taught that seeking it out isn't as important as them seeking you out.
it's
So
true.
just
It's true.
giving them the time to
Mhm.
become aware of who I am and hopefully become interested.
Is there any country artist now, Dariann? Is there any country artist now that you're absolutely looking up to, or you really enjoy listening to, or maybe if we get in your car, it's going to be on the radio, or it's going to be somehow connected? Who would that be?
Carly Pierce for me, for sure.
Did you see
I
what
love
she just did? Went all the way to
Yes,
number one.
craziness, so cool.
Great. And it's been, if I'm not mistaken, it's been at least 80 weeks since a
Right,
single female artist has hit the number one spot. 80 weeks.
crazy,
It's crazy. It's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah. No, she's wonderful. She's been through a lot. Does a great job. What about on the male side?
Ooh, for me lately, it's been a lot of I mean, I play downtown, so a lot of what I'm listening to is the places that I'm playing.
Sure.
But I've been very into a lot of the things that some of the new men in country are coming up with. And I know Kane Brown isn't crazy new, but the duet that he had with his wife, I think is beautiful, one of
With
my
Caitlin.
favorites.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
also love the duet that Bucky Covington and
Oh, wow.
James Decker put out.
That was a while
Or
ago, though, right?
Is it Billy Currington? It's Billy Currington, yeah, and Jesse James Decker put out. I think that
Yes.
one's also
Yes.
beautiful. I get those 2 mixed up, and I was joking with some of my friends downtown because they said, "I'm going to play Billy Currington." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't heard his music in a long time." And then they actually
Mhm,
played Billy Currington, and I was thinking Bucky Covington, and I was so confused because I was like, "Wait a
mhm.
second, this isn't what I thought it was." But yes,
Yeah,
Billy Currington.
Bucky's out there though. Bucky's
Yes,
doing
he is.
doing some stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. How important is it for you to be downtown and to be playing these clubs?
I think for me, it's been really important to get the reps in, just to be playing consistently
Mhm,
and kind of master my show a bit more. I played a lot growing up and I've played some really awesome shows and I've had great opportunity, but I've never really pursued challenging myself in the way of playing such a repetition, but also playing things that people want to hear on the drop of a dime. I think also kind of puts you in a place to almost be forced to really get quick at picking things up, and the reps have
mhm,
been really important for my voice and my guitar playing and just my
mhm, mhm,
on-stage showmanship. It's built that
mhm.
so much more than it ever was, and I think more than
That's
it
excellent.
could be if I didn't do it.
And you never know who's gonna be sitting there having a beer and they're gonna go, "Can we talk to you?"
Right, I hope so, I
Just
hope
saying,
so.
just saying. What about, how do you feel towards people like Bailey Zimmerman and artists like that?
I think it's I mean, if you're making it off of online and you're
Mhm,
making it
mhm.
however you're doing it, as long as you're taking the opportunity and being appreciative for it and being honest with it, I'm cool with whatever comes your way.
Mhm, mhm. And what
Oh,
you're
wow,
on TikTok.
light
Oh,
just
what's going on?
that was
What the hell is going on in your place?
we have
I don't
these
know why I'm
little
trying to look around your room, but it doesn't work for me. But
no, we have
what?
remote control lights,
What was
and
that?
I think my boyfriend just accidentally turned that lamp on instead of one in my living room. Is what happened. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Just blink and it's over.
It's all right. It's all right. It's cool. It's cool. It's all good. It's a podcast, and
It is.
the name of the podcast is Skip
It
Happens. So
happens.
it does, and we're going to keep it like that. What is your biggest pet peeve as an artist?
Oh, as an artist.
Yeah, or just in general.
Hmm. I I feel like I have random ones, and it's usually if I'm just in, like, a place where I'm, like, stressed out and or if I really don't know. Sometimes I hate when I'll make it's with myself actually, which is the most painful, but I have a habit of just finding a random word, whether it's in an interview or in a conversation I'm
Uh-oh.
having with
Okay.
someone or on stage, and I'll just repeat the same word continuously, almost as if it's, like, glued to my brain a little bit, and I just can't get it out of there. If I could have a pet peeve about myself, that would
That
definitely
would
be
be
it.
it.
That would be it.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a really kind of it doesn't have anything to do with music,
I love it.
which is what we do here on the podcast. But what do you think the world's going to look like in 5 years?
Oh,
You
I
know,
don't
just
know.
that's deep, huh?
It's deep, and sometimes those questions scare me a little bit,
Yeah.
especially with the powers of technology. I would hope that we're using it for good rather than for bad, because I think it's really easy to turn the corner on a bad thing. I hope that we've all grown a lot more together in 5 years than we are now. I think that that would be something that we could all be very, very proud of.
Hmm. Absolutely. Do you remember Gina at CRS? My boss's wife, Gina. She
Yes,
said hello.
yes.
She just said hi, Darian. So she's
Hi.
there.
I do remember,
Absolutely.
yes. We were
Yeah, some
talking.
good people, really good people.
I
But
love it.
yeah, did your light just flash again? No, it
I
must be
don't
me. Never mind. Never mind.
he
I think
blinked.
your place is haunted. Either that or your boyfriend's playing a trick on you.
He might
So,
be. He
so
might.
normally I don't ask this, but tell us about your boyfriend a little bit. What does he
Yeah,
do? Okay. He's
Zach
going to go,
was
don't say much. Don't say much.
no, he's good. He got out of the Marine Corps a little over, I guess, almost 2 years ago now,
Oh,
and
that's
sometimes
right. I think you told us. Yes.
yeah, sometimes that transition words are so hard sometimes. That transition can be really tough, but he's done really
Yeah.
well with it and has found work, and
Excellent.
he's such a determined person that whatever he does
Excellent.
really well at it.
God bless him, man. And just always thank you for your service. You tell him that just anybody that does that, just,
Yeah,
we need more people like that.
right,
And that would help us get on the right track, I think,
right,
if we did have more people like that. So,
right.
what's your favorite color?
I like green or blue.
Ugh. Oh,
Yeah.
blue. I like blue.
He
I
said,
don't mind blue,
"Ugh."
but green.
He said,
Ugh.
Yeah, like
Because you
a
said green.
visceral reaction to the color green. I
All right,
think
here.
we might be thinking of 2 different shades of
We won't even go there. All right, never mind. Never mind. Okay.
Oh.
Ew,
Oh my
ew.
gosh.
What's the most important lesson that you've learned doing what you're doing up to this point? I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of ups and downs, and
Right,
maybe there's been a time you said, "Screw this! I don't even want to do this anymore."
right.
But what is the most important lesson that you've learned?
Oh, for me, career-wise, I would say that sometimes a break is really important.
Hmm.
I think the pandemic really showed us all that, how you can slow down and you can still move forward somehow. Um,
Hmm.
we always prevail in some sort of a way. Personally, and not even, but also especially with recent events, just that time is of the essence and it's very precious and it's
Yeah.
very important to do what matters most to you and to do what you love and to be with the ones that you love.
Mhm. Wow, I love it. I love it. And your mom's sitting there going, "That's my daughter. That's my daughter. That's my daughter." Absolutely, 100%. So, talk to me about a day in the life of Dariann Leigh. What time do you wake up?
Sometime around
I
7:48.
thought you were going to say noon,
No,
but you're a
I
musician, so I would expect that.
right, right. I wish I could be one of those people that could sleep in really late, but most of the time, like 8, sometimes I'll sleep in, it might be 9, but then I feel guilty that I didn't get up at
Then
8,
it
so
really, but I mean, do you work gigs at night?
yeah, I do. So when I work at night, so right now my schedule's been Monday mornings, Friday nights,
Okay.
Saturday nights. So I specifically try to sleep more Saturday, and then so I'm up for a later show. But during the week, it's a lot of just writing meetings, podcasts like this, and interviews and fun things that I get to do. So that's normally when I have like a normal schedule. But
And
my weekends are like my work, if you want to call it that. It's hard
I
to call
got
it
you.
work, but
I bet you've never had a podcast host go, yeah.
no.
See, I'm just saying.
You know, you are one of a kind, and I love it in every way.
Thank you so much. I love it. You know, that's one thing I do when I do this. I'm out of the box. I'm just flowing with it. And my whole idea is to show that, you know, you're a real person. You're
Exactly.
pursuing your dream. That is your job, and how you're doing it. It's interesting always to hear how people like you get to where you are.
Right.
You know, there's been a lot of ups and downs, as I said before. So
Yeah.
yeah, just it's always interesting. And it's yeah. All right. So what do you drive?
I drive a Jeep.
Yeah, girl. Do you get ducked?
I have a few times.
Yeah.
And I've only ever ducked people when they give me a duck, because I can't deal with the I would love to. I think it's very fun, but I can't do the collection of ducks on my dash. So if somebody gives me a duck, I just give it to somebody else right away. And I think it's really fun, because sometimes I hope it's kind of the same person. They think, oh my gosh, that person thought they were so clever.
Mhm. Now, what are they on a Jeep? They have that little design,
Hmm.
and it's on every vehicle. It's somewhere else, correct?
Yep. Or it
Did
could
you?
be a different character or a different design too,
That is so
depending on
cool.
the year. Yeah.
Did you find yours?
Mine is a Jeep crawling up a rocky mountain.
And where is it? Like on the windshield? Is it on
Yeah,
a
mine
door?
was on the windshield. Yeah,
Yeah. How cool. How
it's very
cool.
fun. My mom
That's very,
had
very
a
cool.
Jeep Cherokee back in the day that had like a little
Mhm.
lizard when you lift up a seat, and it was so funny because I told her, I was like, "Did you know there was a lizard in here?" And she's like, "No." It's fun. It's funny.
I gotta love it. Gotta love it. What year is that, by the way?
Um,
And what color is it? And how many
mine.
miles do you have on it?
What's
And what's
your
the
license
furthest
plate
that you've ever done?
number?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just. Oh man.
Oh man.
Gina goes Jeep wave.
Yes, Jeep Wave.
That's-
That's like a this,
there you go.
or like a
Uh,
out the window. But
all
I
right.
never have my
So
window open like that.
if somebody was to write a book about Dariann Leigh, what would be the title of that book?
Um.
If your worst enemy wrote it.
Oh.
There you go. Now I
If
just
my
made it a little bit harder.
if my worst enemy
You don't have
wrote it,
any enemies.
I don't, honestly.
No.
I don't. I would hope they would be really cool and name it whatever single it is that I have at the time, because then it'll help my single.
Now there is a good marketing ploy and a very good
Exactly.
plot. Very,
Right.
that's
They can
excellent.
take the cover art and everything.
Yeah, let them have it all.
Right.
But let me flip the question around. If you were to write a book, what would you write about?
I think for me it'd be really natural to write about just my life story. Then people could,
Excellent.
I feel like they could understand more of my music and also where I come from. Because whenever I talk about where I'm from a very, very small town. And people are always so intrigued to hear all the details about it. So I think it'd be
Mhm.
very interesting to put that in words on a page.
So if somebody wants to go and find out more about you and get your music, you have a website, right?
Yeah.
I know you do. I just don't recall what it was. Is it Dariann Leigh music?
.com.
.com.
JourneyLeague.com. Yeah.
DariannLeigh.com. Okay. Now I want your mother to plug her ears, because what's the most trouble you ever gotten into?
I was really, and I still am, I'm a people pleaser. I get really afraid of getting in trouble. So for me, I think the most trouble that I ever experienced was just like being dumb kids on the golf cart that my parents let us drive and throwing each other off of it occasionally. Or I genuinely, we didn't cause a whole lot of trouble growing up. I was too scared because I had seen my brothers get in trouble, and I was like, not doing
Well, that's
that.
not going to happen to me.
No, exactly.
No, exactly. Interesting. Interesting. So I'm trying to. I have a couple of questions written down. I don't know. 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 I don't know.
IDK.
IDK too. And I can go blah. No, I'm just
Right.
kidding. So, so the music you can get it through the digital service providers.
Yes,
DariannLeigh.com is the website. Do you keep track of your numbers, all your
I
social
do.
media stuff?
I
Yeah.
do.
And how are we doing?
We are doing good. My Instagram recently started growing like crazy. I finally hit over 10,000 followers, which is very cool. TikTok has done pretty well from the beginning. My website, I always have, whenever I talk to my team, they always comment on how many subscriptions I have every month.
Mhm.
I claim my winning success to that is because I have a bubble that reminds people to subscribe every like 10 seconds. And it might be annoying, but it's persistent, and the persistence is key.
Just hit the freaking bubble and it'll stop coming up,
Exactly.
right?
If you subscribe, it'll
Yes.
stop appearing.
Yes. What platform do you think works the best for you?
For me, I think if I'm going to do something like personal and in a live stream, it's always Facebook. But if it's a video, which TikTok has done good for me at times, but at other times it goes downstream a little bit. But I've
Mhm.
always done well on Instagram.
Yeah. I hear, a lot, they either say Instagram or they say TikTok.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing a lot of. And now who knows with TikTok with all that stuff's up in the air.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. What's your favorite meal? What's your favorite meal?
Ooh, I love seafood.
Okay.
So anything with seafood has pretty much got my name on it. You said
Time out.
no.
Time out. No, 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 no. I love seafood.
Okay.
But when I was at CRS, we had octopus.
Oh, yes.
No,
I've had
no.
octopus as well. It's very interesting. The texture is strange.
Very interesting. Your mom says spaghetti,
I do.
but and I'm with her. I love spaghetti,
I could eat
but
spaghetti.
any type of pasta, it's good. And as
Mm.
you can tell, it's been very good to me. But we had octopus when we went out to dinner. It was one of our, I think, like an appetizer. Somebody said, "Oh, we're gonna get some octopus." I said, "No." But anyways,
I said,
and I could. I went, "Blah." But I had tentacles on it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm going, how can I eat this? So I tried a little piece and it was real chewy.
Mhm.
And I said, ugh. I went, "Eeh."
It's kind of rubbery.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. It was rubbery.
I always
So,
joke with people my age because there's this weird thing about when we were kids. I found out by TikTok I wasn't the only one that did this, so I'm unafraid to admit it. But you would have like Polly Pockets, like the doll clothes, and their clothes is made
mhm.
out of like rubber silicone, and you bite on it. That's what eating octopus is like.
Not that I've done that,
No,
but still,
no,
it
but
was,
I
oh my
found a lot
God.
of people apparently did that as kids.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely terrible. Oof.
Do
Okay,
you
there's
like
another sound. I did the oof, the
oof?
blah, and then,
Oof is more my nature. That's like a very
okay.
big Minnesotan phrase.
Is it, what other phrases in Minnesota?
Oh, everybody always makes fun of Minnesota for like the oof does and the don't you knows.
Oh,
Um,
don't you know?
yeah,
Well, we
don't
say,
you know?
don't you know, here in the Northeast. Don't you
Exactly.
know? Don't you know?
Exactly.
But
And
I
it's
have
never like
found,
3 separate words, it's one combined, don't you know?
yeah, don't you know?
Yep.
Don't you know? Skip happens, don't you know? Um, I found myself saying, "Hey, y'all, we'll see you tomorrow afternoon." Y'all. I never
Mhm.
used to talk like that. Ever since I
Right,
started going to Nashville, I'm starting to talk like that.
right. It rubs off on you.
Hmm. And I'm from the Northeast, so that's
Right.
kind of weird. That's kind of weird. So if you could have a conversation, ooh, your mom said oopsies.
My mom says oopsies a lot. I don't think that's just like I don't think it's just a Minnesotan
I
thing,
love your parents.
but it's so
Oh my
sweet.
God. All right.
Oopsies.
Okay, Lori. Oopsies. There, I said it. Oopsies. Now it totally blew my train of thought.
Right. Thanks,
Somebody
mom.
said, "You betcha." You
There's
betcha.
one, you betcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You betcha. That's is it Sophie?
Yes,
Sophia.
Sophia.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. You betcha. You betcha. This has been a great time, don't you know? So see,
Well
there you
played.
go. So,
Well
there you go.
played.
So what can we expect in the way of music? What's next? I know the
Yeah.
song came out just a little bit ago, but what's next?
I have a music video that should be coming out end of this coming month.
Really?
Hopefully. We're trying to do some things with it. It's finished, but just trying to see what we can get with
Mhm.
it. So we'll see when that comes. I'm currently writing for my next single, and I think I've got a couple strong contenders to hit the studio with that I'm very much so looking forward to.
EP album.
I've done an EP, but I released it all as singles on streaming.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to at some point do an album.
Okay. I get, you're talking about your video that's coming out. Can't wait to see it. Number one. Number two, that's not cheap.
No.
So, I mean, is this all you're doing? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saving
I
every
do
penny.
music. Yeah. That's all I
Yeah.
do.
This is it. This is
Mhm.
it. And you drive around in your Jeep
Yep.
as long as you don't get ducked. So we're
Exactly.
good. Yeah. We
It
have
doesn't
somebody at
happen
our
too often.
radio station that has a Jeep and they get ducked all the time.
See,
And she's got them all across
yeah.
her dashboard.
I almost wish it happened more often because it always makes my day, and I think it's so funny, but it doesn't happen crazy often.
Well, she'll come into my office and go, "You did it again." I go, "Did what?" She goes, "You ducked me." I said, "I have not." And honest to God, it's not me. But for
Right.
some reason, she thinks it's 100% me. So
That's so
I don't.
funny.
I do know who it is, but I'll leave it at
Right.
that.
But you're not
Yeah.
gonna
And
tell them. You can't
if I
admit it.
tell you, it'll be an oopsie, and
Right.
I
Oh,
shouldn't tell you.
well
So
played.
don't you know? Exactly. So okay, so we're working on the video. The video's coming out. That's not cheap. This is all you do. So
Yeah.
how you playing at the bar on Monday mornings or
Mhm.
Monday afternoon?
Mhm.
It's kind
Monday
of a
morning.
morning afternoon thing.
Yeah.
So
It's
how
an 11 to 2, and then I play Friday, Saturday nights.
see that's Nashville.
Mhm.
And that's why when you go to Nashville, the music never stops,
Mhm.
more or less. So I mean, if that wouldn't be anywhere but Nashville or maybe
Right.
New York City, but still,
Right.
if you want country or there's all different genres of music in Nashville. Do you
Mhm.
listen to anything else besides country?
I would almost say I go in spurts where sometimes I actually listen to more of other genres than country music.
Mhm.
Always country music is there, and I do listen to majority of country music, but there is times where
Oh,
I'll go to like a lot more pop music or alternative or sometimes like a pop rock-ish thing. Kind of all
mhm,
over
mhm.
jazz, you name it.
Oh, smooth jazz.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need
Yeah.
something a little vibey.
We have a little Kenny G for you. That's weird. Um, it is. Dariann Leigh, I always like to have fun. So, and that's what I do on Skip Happens. We talk to the great artists like yourself. It's just so good to see you. It was great to see you a couple of weeks ago. It was
Me
just,
too.
great to see your parents. I guess your dad hung out down on Broadway for a little bit and
Yes.
took in the clubs, and mom was hanging out with you or up in the
Mhm.
Omni. So we had it was definitely a good time. So good to see you. And I know you're going to succeed. Yeah,
Thank you.
it takes a lot of time, and it's just you're young, you have the will, you have the passion, you got a great boyfriend, and again, thank you for his service. I mean, I'm sure he takes great care of you, and you take great care of him, and together, you guys are going places. So
Thank
that's pretty
you.
cool. Yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on here tonight. We had a lot of fun talking about the music,
Always.
and DariannLeigh.com is the website. Get the music, download the music. As you heard her say, she doesn't do anything else.
Mhm.
This is her livelihood. So everything you can do to help, please do that. Merchandise, is there merch on your website? There
Yes,
is,
yes.
right? Yes. So, that way you can support the artist and somebody like Dariann Leigh, and you can watch her climb the charts. And someday you're going to go, I saw her on that podcast back in 23. It was that Skip guy,
Yes.
So that's cool. Dariann Leigh, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Hang on. And thank you to your mom for chiming in and always
Yeah.
with the oopsies. I love
Yeah.
that.
Oopsies. Thank you so much for having me, truly.
Of course, we love you. You know that. And thank you again for joining us tonight.